There is only one thing you are truly responsible for in this life: your state of consciousness. Every morning you awaken, the world greets you not as it is, but as you are. The conditions, the people, the opportunities, they all mirror the assumptions you carry within yourself. To change your world, you must first change your inner state. To focus on yourself daily is to return to the source of power. It is not vanity, it is spiritual discipline. When you center your attention within, you take the reins of your own destiny. Your imagination is not idle, it is the workshop of creation. What you feel yourself to be, you become. Many spend their lives chasing outcomes, fixing outer circumstances, convincing others to change. But the truth is profoundly simple. Change your concept of self, and the world rearranges itself around your new identity. You must every day deliberately assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, not tomorrow, not when circumstances are perfect, but now. You must clothe yourself in the state of being you desire and persist there. The world will echo it back to you, not immediately, but inevitably. So is your inner conversations are prayers. What you repeatedly whisper to yourself, those unseen, unspoken words, are more powerful than any public declaration. So what are you saying about yourself? Are you building or destroying? Are you affirming lack or abundance, fear or faith? Daily focus requires discipline. It is the quiet practice of sitting in stillness, selecting a new idea of yourself and feeling it real. That secret act, done with intention, becomes your future reality. As the seed is to the tree, so is your self-image to your destiny. Facts may arise to contradict your vision. Let them pass. You are not here to worship facts. You are here to walk by faith. You are not a victim of appearances. You are the operant power, the creative spirit clothed in human form. So, today, focus on yourself, not the version shaped by the world, but the one you choose to become. Hold that vision, feel its reality, trust in the unseen, and do it again tomorrow and the day after. You are always becoming. The question is, what are you becoming? Your reality reflects your inner world in ways that are often unnoticed, yet entirely absolute. Everything you experience on the outside, your relationships, your finances, your opportunities, even the rhythm of your days, is a direct projection of the state of your consciousness. It's not that the world out there holds power over you. Rather, it is that your persistent inner assumptions, beliefs, and feelings are shaping the world you see. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror. It has no life of its own. It simply reflects back to you what you are entertaining within. When you feel unworthy, the world presents circumstances that affirm your unworthiness. When you believe yourself to be abundant, opportunities seem to arise effortlessly. The mirror does not choose what it shows you, you do. You may try to change conditions through effort, through action, through force, but unless your inner state has changed, the results will be temporary or inconsistent. It is the inner man that must be renewed. As within, so without. The secret lies not in manipulating effects, but in mastering cause. The cause is always consciousness. Thoughts are not empty words. They carry vibration, feeling, energy. When a thought is accepted emotionally and repeated persistently, it imprints itself upon your subconscious, which then externalizes it in your world. What you dwell upon mentally becomes the framework of your life experience. You walk through a world shaped by your imagination, though you may not be aware of it. If your mind is saturated with fear, lack, or bitterness, then the forms you meet will only reinforce those same impressions. But if your inner world is filled with peace, confidence, and vision, then the world cannot help but organize itself around those qualities. This is why true transformation begins in silence, in solitude, in reflection. The outer world can be loud, demanding, and chaotic, but the inner world is where the real work happens, the only work that matters. It is there that you must observe the patterns of your thoughts, the tones of your feelings, and the assumptions you have accepted as facts. You are never reacting to life, you are reacting to your own assumptions about life. You are not a puppet to circumstances. The moment you take your attention away from appearances and begin to examine and refine your inner world, you step into creative dominion. Life stops happening to you and begins to flow from you. Imagination is the key to transformation because it is the creative power through which all things are made. It is not a passive faculty reserved for daydreams or idle thoughts. It is the very essence of creation itself. When you imagine, you are not merely observing possibilities. You are selecting realities. You are choosing the version of yourself and the world you wish to experience. This act of imagining, when done with feeling and conviction, becomes the seed from which your future unfolds. Everything you now call real began first in imagination. The clothes you wear, the home you live in, the relationships you hold dear, all were first imagined by someone. Imagination precedes manifestation. It is the blueprint of reality. To transform your life, you must first transform your inner world by imagining the life you desire as already yours. This process requires more than mere visualization. It demands that you feel the reality of your desire. You must inhabit the state of your wish fulfilled, experiencing the emotions and sensations as if your desire were already realized. This feeling of reality impresses the subconscious mind, which then orchestrates the events and circumstances necessary for the manifestation of your desire. Imagination is also the means by which you can transcend the limitations of your current circumstances. No matter how fixed or unchangeable your situation may appear, through imagination, you can rise above it. By persistently dwelling in the state of your desired reality, you shift your consciousness, and your external world must conform to this new state. It is important to recognize that imagination is not bound by time or space. It operates in the realm of the eternal now. When you imagine, you are not projecting into the future, you are creating in the present. This present creation then externalizes in its own appointed time. To harness the transformative power of imagination, you must practice it daily. Make it a habit to withdraw from the evidence of the senses and to dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Let your imagination be the workshop where you craft the life you desire. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your external world begins to reflect the changes you have made within. Just remember, imagination is not a substitute for action. It is the source of inspired action. When you imagine your desire as already fulfilled, you align yourself with the means necessary for its realization. Opportunities, ideas, and actions flow naturally from this state of consciousness. Medium. In this way, imagination becomes the key to transformation, unlocking the door to a life that reflects your highest aspirations and deepest desires. Self-focus is not selfishness, because it is through the conscious awareness and deliberate shaping of your inner state that you are able to bring harmony, clarity, and purpose to both your life and the lives you touch. When you focus on yourself, not in ego, but in truth, you return to the center of your creative power. You stop scattering your attention on things beyond your control and begin to take responsibility for the one thing that shapes everything else, your consciousness. It is often misunderstood that giving attention to your own thoughts, feelings, and desires is somehow neglectful of others. But in truth, you cannot offer peace if you are filled with confusion. You cannot give love while harboring resentment. You cannot uplift others from a state of lack or self-rejection. Self-focus is how you clean the lens through which you see the world, and only with a clean lens can you see others clearly. When you go within and examine your assumptions, correct your beliefs, and nurture your vision, you are not withdrawing from life, you are preparing to meet it with fullness. The inner work you do reflects outwardly in the way you speak, act, and respond. Your relationships improve not because you force change, but because your own vibration changes. People begin to respond to the new energy you carry, not the old reactions you once had. Self-focus is the recognition that nothing outside of you can define you unless you allow it. It is the decision to stop being tossed about by the opinions, behaviors, or expectations of others, and instead become deeply rooted in your own divine authority. It is not isolation, it is alignment. You are not cutting yourself off from the world, you are tuning into the source that shapes the world around you. To focus on yourself is to observe your thoughts without judgment, to choose your responses rather than react out of habit, and to direct your imagination intentionally. It is in this inward turning that you find peace, power, and perspective. The noise of the outer world fades when the inner world becomes strong, and you begin to live from cause, not effect. As you continue to return your attention inward each day, you become aware of how much was previously dictated by unconscious patterns and assumptions. You begin to release the compulsion to please, to prove, or to chase. You become still, grounded, and magnetic. The outer world may remain unchanged for a time, but within, a shift has occurred, and that shift will echo into everything you do. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you step into the invisible act of creation. This is not a mental exercise of hoping or wanting. It is the deliberate choice to feel now what you would naturally feel if your desire were already realized. In doing so, you bypass the limitations of logic and sense perception and enter the realm where all things are possible. The mind may question how or when, but the feeling is the answer. Feeling is the secret door. When you assume the feeling, you are not pretending. You are selecting a new state of being and allowing it to become real within you. You embody it, dwell in it, and move from it. It becomes the atmosphere of your thoughts, the tone of your actions, the vibration of your presence. You carry the unseen truth of your fulfilled desire as if it were already a fact in your life. This assumption, when persisted in, hardens into reality. Everything you see in the world around you is the outpicturing of a previously assumed inner state. Nothing appears unless it is first imagined and emotionally accepted. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to live from the end, to take your attention away from current circumstances and anchor it in the unseen reality of your desire. This is the act of faith that moves mountains, not by force, but by spiritual law. The feeling you cultivate is the magnet that draws to you the elements necessary to bring the unseen into form. When you feel successful, success begins to find you. When you feel loved, love begins to reflect itself in the people and situations you encounter. It is not the world that changes first, but you, and the world must then follow. To assume the feeling means to quiet the noise of the senses and enter into the stillness of inner conviction. It means to close the door on doubt, fear, and limitation, and open the inner chamber where your desire is already fulfilled. In this sacred space, you dwell in the state of your answered prayer. You see what others cannot see, feel what others have not yet touched. And it is this inner knowing, this quiet certainty, that begins the chain of events leading to its physical expression. This practice is not a one-time event, but a daily return. Each morning, each night, you revisit the scene of your fulfilled desire. You inhabit it with emotion, you breathe it in, and you let it define your inner world. You do not need to strain, to strive, or to beg. You simply need to feel it real and remain faithful to that feeling. This is the great secret, that consciousness is the only reality, and what you are conscious of being determines your world. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you claim your rightful place as the creator of your life, and you live not in reaction to the world, but as its author. Your inner conversations shape your destiny because they are the constant, silent affirmations that determine who you believe yourself to be and what you expect from life. These dialogues, though invisible to others, form the blueprint of your reality. You may think you are merely thinking or reflecting, but every repeated word within you is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind. And just as surely as seeds bring forth after their kind, your life reflects the nature of your inner speech. Each day, from the moment you wake to the moment you sleep, your mind is engaged in silent monologue. You speak to yourself about your fears, your hopes, your regrets, and your dreams. Often this speech runs automatically, shaped by past conditioning and habitual assumptions. Yet, what you continually say within becomes the emotional and psychological atmosphere in which you live. And this atmosphere forms your experience of the world. If your inner talk is filled with lack, doubt, and failure, then your outer life will mirror those patterns, regardless of how much effort you apply externally. But if your inner speech is filled with faith, confidence, and the assumption of success, your life will begin to unfold accordingly. The world is not responding to your public declarations. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is revealed in what you repeatedly say to yourself. When you silently affirm your worth, your strength, your wholeness, the world begins to echo those affirmations. People treat you differently. Opportunities begin to emerge. Doors open not because circumstances changed on their own, but because your self-concept shifted, and with it, your energy and perception. These inner conversations are creative acts. They are imaginal rehearsals, subtle choices that declare to the universe, this is who I am, this is what I accept, this is what I expect. They are not idle chatter. They are the script of the life you will live. And the remarkable truth is that you can change the script at any moment. You are not bound by the thoughts you have thought before. To deliberately shape your inner speech is to become conscious of what you have unconsciously created. It is to take ownership of the words you speak to yourself in silence, and to use those words with intention. Rather than affirming limitation, you begin to affirm truth. Instead of repeating stories of rejection, you affirm acceptance. Instead of rehearsing fear, you rehearse faith. This practice does not require force, it requires awareness. As you observe your inner dialogue, you will begin to see its direct connection to your external circumstances, and from that place of awareness, you can begin to change the conversation, one phrase at a time. You begin to choose words that uplift, affirm, and align with the life you desire. And as you do, the path you walk begins to change, not because of chance, but because of choice. Daily discipline builds inner power because it is through consistent, deliberate practice that the unseen becomes visible and the imagined becomes real. Discipline is not a restriction, it is a channel, a focused current that carries your intention from thought to form. The mind left unattended drifts into old patterns, reactive habits, and borrowed beliefs. But when you bring discipline to your inner life, you begin to take command of the creative process. Every act of daily discipline is a statement of belief in your own authority. When you rise each day to assume your desired state, to still your mind, to revise a thought, or to persist in a vision, you are doing far more than a mental exercise. You are demonstrating faith in the unseen. You are training your imagination to obey your will rather than your senses. You are becoming the master of your inner world. It is not the occasional moment of inspiration that transforms a life, but the quiet repetition of chosen thoughts, the silent return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the daily rejection of appearances in favor of truth. Each time you choose your vision over your fears, your ideal over your past, you grow stronger within. And this strength accumulates, layer by layer, until your inner state becomes immovable. The power you seek is not found in striving or external effort. It is cultivated in the silence of daily inner work. The more faithfully you return to your inner center, the more naturally the outer world aligns to reflect your new state. Repetition is not weakness, it is creation. What you do consistently, you become. What you feel repeatedly, you attract. This discipline is not harsh, it is sacred. It is the gentle act of realignment, the daily decision to remember who you are and what you desire to embody. Over time, what once required effort becomes your natural state. The self in you you chose becomes the self you express. And this expression radiates outward, shaping circumstances, drawing people, opening paths. True inner power is never loud or forceful. It is steady, certain, and deeply rooted. It does not react to every appearance, nor is it swayed by temporary delay. It knows that the real work has already been done within, and the outer must eventually conform. Daily discipline is the foundation of this knowing. It keeps you anchored when doubt arises, and faithful when the senses show otherwise. It is the quiet fire that sustains creation, even when the world has not yet caught up. Ignore the facts. Trust the truth, because facts are fleeting, but truth is eternal. Facts belong to the world of appearances, of sense data, of what has already been formed. They are the reflections of old states of consciousness, the residue of past beliefs and assumptions. But truth is not born of observation. It is born of inner conviction. Truth is what you know in spirit, even when the senses scream otherwise. To ignore the facts is not denial, it is discipline. It is the conscious refusal to accept present appearances as the final word. Facts say you are limited, but truth says you are limitless. Facts may present death, illness, rejection, or delay, but truth declares abundance, health, love, and divine timing. The moment you bow to facts, you surrender your creative power, but when you rise above them, when you hold fast to the unseen reality within, you become the master of your world. You no longer live in reaction to appearances. You live from the vision you have accepted as real. There is no need to force, no need to plead. Be still and know the power is you. The cause is within. And what you declare in silence will become visible in its time. So I invite you now, not just to remember these truths, but to live them, to return daily to the stillness within, to choose your inner conversations wisely, to assume the feeling of your fulfilled desire, and to walk by the truth, not by the facts. You are not here to react to life, you are here to create it. The power is in you, the responsibility is yours, and the possibilities are endless. Thank you for listening. And may you never forget, the world around you is the mirror of the world within you. Focus on yourself every day and watch how your life transforms.